and welcome to the MTG-Profits podcast. You're listening here to episode 26. Glad to have you with us. We're here to talk about Magic the Gathering, some news, and of course, as always, we get into the finance of it, looking at what cards are worth, what you should buy and sell, and all sorts of other financial-related topics. As always, I'm here with my co-host, Devin.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, so we've got some good news this week. It's been a little bit of
lots of news this week.
Busy news
week.
A
lot of things going on, especially like finance-wise.
Yeah, I was just going to say, especially things that impact the finance of the cards. So it'll be a good news week for our listeners here. We plan to enlighten you. Prepare to be blessed with enlightenment.
The enlightenment is coming fast and furious, and it's going to get it right in your eyes.
Thank you, machine spirit. But, so did you want to start off? You've got a few news items.
I'm just going to go down the list here, and I think you got some too. I saw a thing on Reddit the other day, and this is one of those things, can't say 100%, but there was apparently some discussion with Mark Rosewater concerning the next set and Planeswalkers, and they're talking that there's going to be basically reverse Planeswalkers. So similar to Origins, where you had a Planeswalker and they'd be the human kind of weaker form, and they would flip with their spark and become their Planeswalker form.
The awakened.
Yes, the awakened state. This is going to be the reverse. You would start with your Planeswalker state and revert back to the human state or whatever.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, so there's apparently that has been put out there that is going to be in the next set or sometime soon as a theory. And it looks like it's basically been confirmed. We'll, still conjecture at this point. Can't say 100% if that's true or just fiction on the interwebs. But it seems that from discussions with Mark Rosewater, that's going to be the case.
It's interesting.
So we'll have to wait and see. And I guess I'm sure that ties into the whole theme of that set, War of the Spark, where Planeswalkers and sparks and some epic battle and all of that.
Like sparking and desparking.
Exactly. So maybe somebody loses their spark and Kobolas steals it from them, or I don't know, whatever.
Something, yeah. Honestly, I guess it could be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, honestly, though, that's some of the comments I saw, and I can kind of understand that is, that it was kind of the more fun part of it, where you're kind of powering up your guy and then to a stronger form, but starting strong and going weaker, that
seems bad.
It seems bad. It seems like it's not as a fun. I don't know.
Maybe it just depends on how it's implemented. Like, for example, maybe when you despark, you add 4 mana to your mana pool or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Now that could be cool.
For that.
So maybe I could see that happening.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what this whole war arc is going to entail, and obviously more Planeswalker-related things.
I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't done like a heavy Planeswalker set. Maybe they'll do that this year. Maybe this is going to be the year of the Planeswalkers. Mark Rosewater said in his on his blogatog that it's going to be a crazy year for Magic, exciting things, and I'm sure they're going to be selling us lots of new, expensive stuff. And
I'm sure.
So maybe that's going to be part of the push. Maybe they'll have an all Planeswalker set. Like they had all artifacts and or all flip cards, or maybe it'll be a heavy theme.
Dominaria was high in the legends.
Yeah, that's right, heavy legend. Yeah, so maybe we'll have a heavy Planeswalker set.
Yeah, I don't think that would be good.
You can't
take one of those special kind of cards and go
too buck
crazy with it. Yeah.
Unless they had tons of Planeswalker support cards or Planeswalker anti-cards, I could see them just going heavy, like, remove a Planeswalker, or, every time you do a Planeswalker effect, double it, or pull counters off your opponent's Planeswalkers. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see that. I'd be fine with that, like Planeswalker-related cards.
That's what I would imagine.
But not actual 20 new Planeswalkers.
No, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time until they do something like that. Like,
Yeah.
A very heavy Planeswalker interaction set, so to speak.
I can see that. I can see that.
So, speaking of excitement and exciting things that Magic's going to do for us, I know you had read a little bit about the Pulse, the direct-to-consumer sales. And,
so this was just recently announced.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. The first thing that people got up in arms about is, well, if you're selling directly to the consumers, aren't you stepping on the toes of all your retailers? And they tried to quash that as a potential problem by saying, we're just trying to connect with our collectors, and it's not going to be really direct selling per se, but direct interacting. And we'll have very unique specialty products there and collector's items. And I don't know if you've read a little bit more into some of the details, but it's going to be a subscription-based model apparently. And
I think I did see that.
So they want you to pay, $50 to become a member, and they'll send you a Planeswalker Spark in your email, and you'll be able to access the website and buy special things, You
get some, I think, some items before they're officially released. You can pre-order some things.
Exactly.
A couple other bonuses.
So it'll be curious. I believe this is the beginning. It's funny because every time Wizards does something, they seem to epically wreck it somehow, and then realize they're like, oh, we made a big mistake. So for the sake of argument, the recent Ravnica Allegiance, or not the Ravnica, but the original, the Guilds of Ravnica Epic Mythic Timmy edition, the Mythic boxes that were $250.
Yeah.
And they tried to host them on Hasbro's website, and that was such an epic failure that they ended up having to refund boxes, and they had to send out "We're sorry" cards and things of that nature to purchasers, and so that was a huge fail. And then the second huge fail was the eBay, which was, I would consider a partially huge fail for them. They would probably consider it a semi-success, but they sold a ton of them. But the problem that they had was, due to the way that eBay sells things, buyers had a sense for how many were available. Yeah. And so they sold robustly within the first 6 hours. They were flying off the shelves literally every 5 seconds. But then after 6 hours, they upped the quantity amount to 20K effectively. Then interest instantaneously dried up. And so basically they hated the fact that a special limited edition product, that everyone could tell that it was not limited, that there were essentially thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of boxes available, thereby dispelling the illusion of uniqueness and special. Yeah. So once people realize that there's so much of it out there that it's not going to hold its special place in people's hearts as a limited edition item, the value of those products instantly dried up. And so that was a failure. So what they want is a website robust enough to handle brisk sales, but they also want to be able to control the available amount so that the buyers cannot actually see how many are available. So kind of curious. So I'm sure that's what they're after. They want to directly sell product to the end user, specialty high dollar product that they make tremendous margins on. Yep. And they'd like to cut out the middleman as much as possible, which seems to be their typical modus operandi lately. That with the Arena being a direct to consumer product,
Arena, and Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. Although there's still a tiny bit of a middleman there, but logistically, it's probably better for Wizards to let Amazon handle it. But technically, there still is a little bit of a middleman there.
Yeah, true. True. But, so this the Hasbro Pulse actually it launched on February 15th. So it's the new online store for all of Hasbro's stuff. So that's Nerf, Marvel Legends, Transformers, Star Wars, Power Rangers, all the kind of special collections of all those types of things. And the premium service is the Hasbro Pulse Premium, which gives you free shipping and access to premium-only sales and discounts and other perks throughout the year. And you can get the benefits for free right now until February 24th. After that, it costs you $50 to sign up for the Pulse Premium.
I saw that, $50. Yeah. Oh, curious. We'll see how that goes moving forward. I anticipate that they will release their new modern staple set as a premier product on Pulse. And I think that's how they're going to draw people to the website, get people used to using it, and selling a premium high-dollar product directly to the consumer.
I think you're 100% right. It's just a question of when.
Yeah. And I bet you it's going to be a modern product, because I want to say that Morrow has mentioned that it's going to be the year of modern. So I would anticipate some special new modern masters, although they'll call it something different than masters. They'll probably call it, I don't know, modern staples or staples are us. Who knows?
So do you think it's worth signing up for Pulse Premium and hope of getting first access to these things?
I really am a little doubtful. We'll see. I cannot imagine myself paying $50 for access to Wizards' early product releases, things of that nature. I may be vastly wrong, but I just can't imagine it. When you have services like Amazon Prime for $120, and it gives you videos and music and infinite free shipping on any item you could ever want, I can't imagine wanting to pay Hasbro $50 for a privilege to getting to their stuff earlier.
Absolutely, that seems...
It seems like something I personally would not like to pay for.
No.
Additionally, I find that their move towards relentlessly pushing limited edition and special product releases, I feel, is detrimental to those products, because they lose their specialness, number one, and number two, as a general rule of thumb, it seems that every time something is pushed as a special limited edition, almost never do they hold value as organically grown scarcity.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case. If you're specifically saying this is the rare limited edition, it's not going to be.
It almost never is. It almost never is. It's always the thing that caught manufacturers by surprise, that people loved and bought all of them up, and there was actual organic scarcity versus artificially, stating a product as scarce and trying to market it as such.
Yeah. So. I'm surprised too that I'm not fully aware of all of the different toy lines, but there's been so much. There actually is so much heavy, what you want to call it? I guess what you were saying. These different series and special select collections that they've been creating. I didn't realize I've just been looking recently into the Transformers, and there's new series of Transformers being released, and these aren't your typical just cartoon-based ones from current TV shows. These are special premium, they call them like the Studio Series and the Studio Design Series, that are, special collector versions that are, $20, $100 for some of these.
Yeah.
They're pretty, and they're nice. They're very nice toys.
And I think they're taking a little bit of a cue from some of the anime figures creators. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with some of those anime figurines, but they sell for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So they're like high end, and I think Hasbro's thinking, hey, we have this intellectual property in the form of Transformers and G.I. Joe and things of that nature that we should capitalize on. If people are willing to shell out $100 for a lump of plastic that's molded, we should make a lump of plastic that's molded and sell it to them for $100.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, and you look at these, they've got the properties. Oh, Marvel X-Men. Okay, we'll make a collection of them. Oh, yeah. Star Wars. Oh, guess how many Darth Vaders we can make that are premium ones? Or Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, Episode 4, Return of the Jedi, Tatooine Skiff. It's just the guys from the Skiff. For $40.
Wow. Oh, my. Those Skiff dudes are not worth $40.
No, they all died horribly. They probably didn't even have names.
Busy running into trees. nameless Empire Soldier number 17.
I know I'm sure they probably have special names now that they got for it.
Yeah, golly, that's funny though.
And the re-release of Dungeons and Dragons, all of that, they've been putting that. So yeah, they're going crazy with the old stuff, and I understand. I mean, it makes sense.
It has nostalgia, and people want to buy it.
Exactly. Slaps the term premium collection or something.
Yeah, limited edition. Only 80,000 copies.
Legend
very limited.
Yeah. Oh, this new Darth Vader is Star Wars: The Black Series.
Oh my.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I don't see.
It's got 8 different hands.
Oh, you can swap them out.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. More things to lose.
But you'll never do that because he's going to stay in his packaging. So
exactly.
You could stare at his hands, though.
You could look at him through the plastic.
Yeah, you can enjoy.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so that was interesting. We'll see how the Pulse goes.
Yeah.
I don't see myself paying $50 for the privilege of buying something that has such a limited real life usefulness. You know, if it was like $5, maybe 10, but 50, no way. You know, it's just way beyond the pale in my personal estimation of the value of that service.
Absolutely. Oh, and just a slight correction. It was $39 for the actual skiff. The guys, the skiff figures you can buy separately, and they are now available for about $13 a guy.
Wow. It's still kind of a lot.
It is a lot.
That's funny.
I guess speaking of pricing, though, there was another big pricing-related announcement about the MSRP.
Yeah, big news there. Very big news, actually. It's probably the most tectonic shift in pricing that we've had. Well, honestly, since last year's tectonic shift of the 4% box price increase, or the $4 box price increase. So that was you're right, the loss of MSRP, the official statement of Wizards saying they're going to do away with MSRP for product moving forward, and letting the market demand determine the MSRP.
And I think they were saying the reasoning for it was, other parts of the world really don't use that, and it's not really value.
Everything they say there is bullshit, and there's no way of denying the only real reason they're getting rid of MSRP is so that they can instantly, then literally jack up the prices on all product across the board and sell almost everything as a premium product. Now that we've essentially given Wizards the green light to sell us physical cards at $9 a pack, that's exactly what they want to do as much of the time as possible. So I would expect a relentless increase in cost on prices, or cost for cards and sealed product.
Sure.
So I think they're going to have relentless premium product upon premium product that they want to sell, and we'll see. I think in the next few years, it would not surprise me if $6.99 becomes the new base cost for physical booster packs.
I could see that. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I remember you used to buy packs for $3,
$2.99,
$4.
Yeah,
and now it's $4.99.
Yeah, or is it $4.99? Holy cow!
I think it's $4.99 when I looked at the Target the other day.
Target or something. Yeah. So I think we're moving towards the $6.99 per standard booster pack, and $9.99 and $14.99 for premium product. So it would be nice if for $6.99 you could get cards that wouldn't curl instantly upon removal from the package.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If they're going to charge us premium pricing, it'd be nice if they could actually make us premium printed cards.
Yeah, that would be good. Be good.
So I'm sure that's the goal. I think they want to get it so that all the card prices are similar to what they were during Modern Masters, the original, which was, I believe, $6.99. I think that's probably their end goal, and I think they want to be there by probably 2022.
And I guess just to enlighten for our listeners too. I guess one of the things I guess that the MSRP provides is kind of, I guess, a little bit of pricing reference. Is that the way to put it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of what the user should pay per pack.
Yeah, because then it gives you kind of an idea what it's worth versus what the sellers are going to sell it for, and kind of gives you a frame of mind for the value of that product.
Exactly. And by freeing your mind from the constraint of what the product should cost, thereby it allows the price of the product to drift higher much more easily.
Yeah, because you have no expectation of what it really is.
Cost. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that is very deceptive when you've taken away any sort of kind of measurement, I guess.
Any reference. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that MSRPs also protect sellers from downside pressure as well. So for the sake of argument, typically an MSRP is not used to jack the customer, but also to protect the store owner as well. And the reason for that is markup on most products that you would purchase in any kind of retail environment is between 42 and 53%. So if you're buying a pair of shoes, it's $100 for nice round numbers. That usually would have cost the store $70 to purchase. So, or say you were going to buy something for $50, that would have cost them $35 to purchase and get on their shelves. Magic is unfortunately a very low markup product for stores, so they buy them, for $82 a box now.
Yeah,
so, they're not really selling boxes at a premium, I tell you that. But historically, MSRPs were built so that if you were for the sake of argument, if you were a local 7-Eleven and you were selling packs of gum and the MSRP is 25 cents per pack, the buyer knew that effectively, if they were charging you, less, that you were getting a great deal because the store was, paying a certain amount for that pack of gum. And by the same token, it also gave the user a sense for how much they should pay reasonably. So it gives the buyer some protection. It also gives the seller some protection. So in this case, it's more about, I think, reducing the protection for the buyers and also the fact that they don't care about sellers. So I don't think the Wizards really cares much about the local game stores in that regard. So. Yeah,
it definitely seems that this is just another hit to the stores and to how they're pricing.
So an extra hassle for them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we'll have to see how that plays out. They really tried to. It seems like that was very slipped under the radar on that one.
Yeah, that was like the Friday night news release. It's like I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the Friday night surprise is always the news release that someone doesn't want you to know about. It'll be a press release from the office of the president Friday at 4:58 p.m. So that essentially the news cycle is over and the weekend begins, and the public won't pay that much attention to it. Versus Monday, where the news cycle will talk about it for the next 3 days. You know what I mean? That's typical of almost any bad news. They almost always will throw it out there Friday afternoon for that specific reason.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched Rudy's and Alpha Investments take on it, but he was definitely
anti.
Yeah. He also echoed that this did not bode well for the future.
Yeah, I think it's troubling. I would say, to be honest. So,
yeah,
we'll see. But from a corporate standpoint, I can't say that I blame Wizards either, because it's funny to say that, but the thing about it is they've proven time and time again that if they release special products, we will buy them, and we will pay price premiums for them.
The demand is there.
The demand has been there. I do think that will run dry so to speak. I think after relentless product cycles of premium products, I think once you start doing that sort of thing more than once a year, the interest and the desire for those products is going to start to dry up.
Yeah.
Because people just get the wallet fatigue.
Yeah. You've just done it too much.
Yeah, it loses its wow factor when you're like, oh, there's another premium product. Oh, there's another, Juicy Masters release.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to run into a problem that their own success will lead to their downfall in that regard. They're like, wow, we have so much success selling premium product. Let's keep pumping out premium product.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the interest in the premium product dies because it's ubiquitous and not special.
Yeah, just the
oversaturation of premium product.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the big news items.
Those are the big money items. I guess the other big, we had the first Mythic Championship went on this past weekend. I think that was in Cleveland, if I recall correctly.
I believe so.
Yeah, so that was something new. This was under the new kind of tournament style that the Wizards is doing. Essentially, I guess, really basically similar to a Grand Prix. But that was the first event of that type that's happened. I guess we saw a lot of the major decks came out to play. We have the Nexus of Fate, the Sultai midrange, White Aggro, Mono Blue Tempo, all these same kind of decks. I guess the one big thing to note out of all of this, that typically after these big tournaments, we see certain spikes in cards based on tournament play.
Absolutely.
And this is a really strange exception. There haven't been any major spikes on any particular cards after this past weekend.
Yeah, it's strange. You're 100% correct. Usually we see, nice juicy spikes. And I think the conjecture is that maybe all the best cards are already known and there wasn't too many surprises.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were reading that, but I think that was maybe a potential issue where everybody sort of already knew what the premium cards were, and there weren't too many surprise decks that were coming out and blowing it out of the water, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think a lot of things were already well known. A lot of the ones that were expensive, were staples that were used before and continue to be used. What was it, the Arclight Phoenix as an example?
Yeah. Teferi and
Teferi. I mean, these weren't big surprises. Although it just still seemed kind of unusual that there wasn't at least one dramatic change. But
like a surprise of some sort. Yeah. Yeah, it is strange. It's curious because then I guess the more concerned part of me wonders if it's because the supply is so massive that even an increase in demand can't move the price.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is there so much product out there that even when the demand surges, it can't produce an increase in the cost or the value, which is a little troubling, honestly, if that's the case.
Yeah. Hard to say. I mean, I've seen other conjecture too that's saying, maybe it's something to do with Arena too, that more people are playing it on Arena, they can practice more, they can test things out that way, so that affects some of what they purchase and what they know to be good, and I don't know.
Possible. I would think that might be reasonable. However, if you need to get 4 of a certain card in Arena without using those wild cards, you're going to have a challenging time doing it.
It's true,
and you're going to have to open a boatload of packs in order to get enough rare wild cards to build out a deck, I would imagine.
Probably, but if you grind long and hard enough, and if you're focused enough on maybe one particular deck,
maybe.
I don't know. I think you might be able to pull it off. I don't know. This is a curious kind of situation on this. But we'll see what happens. If it's going to continue on other of these Mythic championship events or not.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes open. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely a strange occurrence on that.
Absolutely.
I guess kind of along those same lines, where there's talk about some testing being done at these Mythic Championships, and there's been testing out a new mulligan rule, and this was I think this is actually going to be in. Well, they call it the London test, but
I believe so.
It's for the Mythic Championship 2 in London. They're trying out a new mulligan rule. It's going to be when you mulligan for the nth time, you draw 7 cards, then put N cards on the bottom of your library in any order. So if you mulligan for the second time, you would place 2 cards on the bottom of your library on any order. We'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition, if that really is going to affect the game or not. I think we've spoken multiple times about how frustrating the situation is with mana and the dependency on that.
Yeah, I absolutely feel that they need to do something with the mulliganing. I feel that it's so brutal.
I mean, other card games have gotten around this, even like Hearthstone or even, we've discussed like Force of Will, even their mulligan system, which...
so superior. It's vastly superior to what we're stuck with the Magic.
And that's what, you discard your whole hand and then redraw.
So with the Force
right?
of Will, I believe they call it a partial Paris, I believe. And so you've got your initial draw of, in that case, 5 cards. Mm-hmm. You choose X number of those cards, discard that number, and redraw the same amount. So, for example, if you have 3 cards in your 5-card hand that you like, you may discard the 2 that you do not like and draw 2 replacement cards. And that's it. You only get to mulligan once. You don't get any other mulligans. But you choose the cards that you retain. So it's a far superior situation.
Yeah, I think that's much better even than this other one they're proposing.
It is better, in my opinion.
It gives you much more control and selection.
It does. It does. I mean, randomness is still a substantial part of the game, which you do want some randomness, but it prevents you from getting utterly blown out and not actually getting to play the game for the simple reason of you just not getting cards.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to lose a game just because you're waiting to draw a land, or you can't because you have the wrong color, and you sit there and you slowly watch your opponent just slowly grow, and you really don't even get to interact with them in any way. Yeah. It's like a one-sided game. It's like one person's playing and the other person's watching themselves, sink into the water.
Pretty much.
It's like, I'm just going to watch myself drown here. I won't be able to do anything about it because I don't have the tools and, I'm not capable of fixing this situation. I feel it's probably by far the most frustrating part of the game.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
And I know that it's a problem that needs to be addressed, and I wish they would. I don't know. I would appreciate some revamping of the mulligan rules. They've done it before. I don't know why they can't see themselves through to doing it again.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Not only that, I think it would enhance the game's potential as a game of skill, as opposed to a game of chance. It's like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I cannot get out of Silver League. It's like on the arena. So I'm like, I guess the highest tier of silver you can get in limited.
Okay.
And I cannot get into gold, and it's like I'll grind my way through games, and I feel like if I had a little bit more control over the cards I was dealt, that would be a better situation.
Sure.
Because a lot of times you'll be outplaying your opponent but you just won't be able to play because you don't have the ability to play your cards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'll sit there and think like, wow, that was a mistake. Why did he do that? You know, or why did he not attack here? Or why did he attack with everything? There are times where you're sitting there thinking, I would not have done that. And it's because you have the experience and, you know, I guess I would dare say expertise as a player, but sometimes you're hampered by your ability to play cards because you don't have the right source of mana.
Sure, absolutely.
So it's a very frustrating part of the game where the random number generation can just absolutely hose you. And it becomes more of like a 50-50 game of chance versus the randomness as opposed to playing versus an opponent. You're no longer playing against an opponent, you're playing against luck.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
I was playing a game earlier where I didn't draw my third mana until turn 12.
Oh my god!
I still almost won, but it was
it's too hard to come back from that. You know.
Yeah.
It's so miserable. You know, it's like I said, you didn't get to play that game. You just watched it happen to you.
Yep.
You know, very, very frustrating. And I wish they would, you know, tentatively adopt some changes in the Mulligan rules. You know, try it at I don't know, some sort of less formal meetings. Try it during pre-release. Try it during something that, you know, won't get the pro players all in a bunch. You know, try it somewhere more casual. Try something because the mulliganing is so terrible.
Exactly. And I think this is, you know, that seems like I don't know. It seems like things like this, more additional play testing, additional trying out of new rules. And I understand that they have to be very careful about such things, but they do need to continue to experiment and try to do things like that just to make the game better.
They need to improve upon the game.
Yeah.
There have been games
some risks.
Then. Yeah, you know, it's like there have been games that have done this better. They need to learn from them and take the best parts of other things and incorporate it into themselves, like the Borg.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they need to, you know, improve constantly.
Yes, they assimilate. That is the way.
You know? So.
Like one Borg cube almost took out the whole Federation.
That's exactly right. So, oh my goodness, you know.
Assimilated their best captain and everything.
Absolutely. So. But we'll see how that goes. Jury's out on that. But yeah. I know we were mostly going to be a news-heavy cast tonight, but as closing, did you want to throw out a pick or two?
Yeah, let's. You want to do a pick each here?
Let's do it. I have a pretty high confidence pick.
Okay.
I've been going through a lot of cards, and my fetish has been battle bond cards.
Okay.
I know historically I had a big, bug in my bonnet or bee in my bonnet about Masters 25 and Iconic Masters and how they have, tanked prices of some of those cards. And I've turned my attention to the Battle Bond cards. And so I have a few of those, but I'm going to go with probably my highest confidence pick.
Sure.
And it's a card that was originally a Rise of Eldrazi card.
Okay.
And
back away.
Yep, it was, and then it was reprinted in Modern Masters 25. Actually, was this just oh, okay, I'm wrong. This was an Ultimate Masters reprint. So it was Modern Masters 25. It's funny because 3 out of 4 are Battle Bond picks, but this is the one that's not.
Oh, okay.
So I was all excited about Battle Bond, and now I'm like, oh, yeah, exactly. But so this was reprinted in N25 and also Ultimate Masters. It's seeing the lowest price that I've ever seen on it. It was at both Mythic it was Mythic when originally printed, and it's a card called All Is Dust.
Oh, and, yeah, great card.
All of Dust is a really good card. It's tribal sorcery Eldrazi, colorless mana, And it says each player sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. So it's essentially a board wipe that more often than not turns into a one-sided board wipe where, all your colorless stuff is safe, but everything else gets baked. And this card now is going for the cheapest that you can get it is about $5. And I've never seen it this cheap ever before. And I can't remember a time when I have seen it below $7. So this is my highest confidence pick. It was reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters, and I think that's got the price down a little bit. However, those Ultimate Masters booster packs had MSRPs of like $14.
Whoa!
So at $14, you were not excited to get a $5 rare.
Yeah.
So, I
gotta say, I like this card. I think it's a great card. I think it's a great price. It's a great pick, a great pick-me-up. I'm just disappointed that it did get reprinted and come in a set, just because I have several of these and they're still in my collection and not dumped. So
your value got destroyed, unfortunately.
I was hurt by this reprinting.
Oh, that's a bummer. I do think this is one that is don't sell yours now. Save them.
I won't. I'll hold on to it now.
I think the sell point is once it crests over 10. I would say more than 10, consider selling. Definitely by 12. But at 5, this is a pickup. This is a buy, right?
Good card.
Yeah, and it's a high confidence pick. You will not lose money on this card. So, especially if we see a resurgence of Modern. And then you're no matter what, you're not losing money on this. So, $5, go for it.
Yes, absolutely.
So I know you've got one for us.
I've got one pick here too. I still have my giant list of cards that I really liked from Ravnica Allegiance, and still some more on that list. But one for today is the Biomancer's Familiar. He's a rare. And he is 1 green, 1 blue. He's a 2/2. He is a rare card. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability costs to activate to less than 1 mana. And he also has tap. The next time a target creature adapts its turn, it adapts as if it had no +1/+1 counters on it.
Yeah, juicy.
Very juicy. I think the thing that really caught me on this was that very first ability. The activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be something that's going to kind of has far-reaching effects. I mean, that's going to be for next sets, future sets, past sets, any sort of cost reducer. I think anything that reduces cost or has sort of anthem effects that affect everything with some sort of lord or anything like that, there's going to be a demand for that. There's going to be cards that are going to be broken with this. There's going to be a ways to take advantage of this in epic proportions. So,
yeah, I think so. I think this is just a matter of time until something comes along and it has like a you got to pay 4 to activate some ability, and it's a really good ability, and then this thing reduces it to 2.
Exactly.
So it's like on the tip of my mind. I can think of there's a couple of things that this seems to be potentially just awesome for, and it seems to me I can't think of it, but it seems to me like there's some sort of rare red ones that have casting costs that are not casting costs but activation costs.
Abilities.
That I wish I could think of it off the top of my head. I'll probably think of it like right when the cast is over, and I'll be like, dang it. It's like I always want to think about something, and then I think of it on the drive home when it's too late. But
well, I know we've seen something related to this. We saw Training Gowns, which was a reducer as well, an enchantment, skyrocket in price up to like $12, and that's kind of along the same lines as this, where it's reducing activation costs, and it's in color for blue, and it's only 1 mana, so that's amazing. And actually, its second ability is not terrible. I've actually being able to have something currently basically adapt again. Is pretty good. I actually had someone do that to me in a draft, and I didn't understand what was going on at first, and then
you're like, what? How did he do it twice?
Why did he do it again? Oh, that's why.
You're like, oh shoot.
It was an unpleasant surprise.
That's a brutal one too.
Yeah.
Because it's done at instant speed, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, he got in. He hit me for 12.
Yeah, and some of the adapts are very good.
+5.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I think this is a good pick. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, imagine basically, I guess a creature that can just keep adapting.
That's exactly right.
So I mean, gosh, you look at that big what's his name? The big jellyfish.
The flying one.
You know, the pricey boy. He's the Hydroid Crisis.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Imagine being able to adapt.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh, actually, I guess I take that back. He's not an adapter.
I'm thinking of
but there's a couple other big adapters.
The Choco Crab,
the
Choco
Crab. He's a decent adapter.
There's so many that are good. There's even a lot of the adapts give like +3/+3 or even +4/+4. See, so that's a pretty powerful effect, and it's limited normally by the fact that it can only be done once. So the fact that this removes that limitation is somewhat potent.
Exactly.
And it can be done at instant speed as well.
It's really good.
Does not require tapping. So
yeah.
And it reduces the cost of the adapt. So,
yeah. So it's a win-win-win on this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and this guy's good. He's cheap. I mean, you can pick these guys up for around 50 cents, 70 cents. It looks like about 70 cents now.
Oh, you're right. I see
50 to 70 cents.
Yeah, absolutely. This is juicy.
So, man, I don't think you can go wrong with him.
No, I think it's a safe bet right there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we've got All Is Dust and Biomancer's Familiars.
Yeah.
Those are your buy recommendations for the week.
Go out and pick those up.
Absolutely. I wanted to remind everybody in closing to make sure they check out MTG-Profits.com. And I think also check out the YouTube as well. We've been doing a little bit of battling on the arena, and
got some more things to post. They'll be coming out there shortly.
So if YouTube is your thing and you want to hear us playing in the background, fire it up and go right ahead.